Coco Gauff just sent a message to every player on tour, and it wasn't subtle. Her United Cup opener against Solana Sierra wasn't a match. It was a statement. 57 minutes. Double bagel territory. Complete domination. And here's the kicker. She said she can play even better. The tennis world just got put on notice. And 2026 might belong to Coco Gauff, whether anyone else only takes over as the undisputed #1 in women's tennis? Drop your predictions below. Let's talk about what just happened in Perth, Australia. Because this wasn't your typical season opener. This was Coco Gauff showing up on day 1 of the United Cup and absolutely dismantling her opponent like she had a personal grudge. Argentina's Solana Sierra probably thought she'd have a competitive match against the world #3. Instead, she got a tennis lesson that lasted less than an hour and will probably haunt her dreams for weeks. The final score was 6-1, 6-1. For those keeping track at home, that's a double breadstick in tennis terms. Basically as humiliating as it gets without actually losing 6-0, 6-0. The entire match lasted just 57 minutes. And honestly, that feels generous. Gauff was so dominant that Sierra managed to win only 7 points on her own serve in the first set. 7 points. On her own serve. That's not a tennis match, that's a public execution. Gauff stormed out of the gates like she had somewhere important to be. She raced to a 5-0 lead in the opening set with aggressive returns and rock-solid serving. Sierra, who was playing her first ever match against a top 10 player, must have been wondering what she'd gotten herself into. This was supposed to be a learning experience. Instead, it turned into a masterclass in how to get completely overwhelmed by someone playing a different sport. Sierra did manage to save 2 breakpoints during that first set, which probably felt like a moral victory at the time. But Gauff wasn't interested in letting her opponent get comfortable. Even when Gauff hit 2 double faults, her only real mistakes of the match, she immediately regrouped and won 4 straight points to seal the set in 30 minutes. That's the mark of a champion. When things get slightly wobbly, you don't panic. You fix it and move on. The second set was essentially a replay of the first, except somehow even more one-sided. Gauff maintained her undefeated singles record at the United Cup by breaking Sierra's serve repeatedly while facing almost no resistance herself. It was like watching someone play a video game on easy mode. Every time Sierra tried to mount any sort of offense, Gauff had an answer, and that answer usually involved hitting the ball harder and more accurately than her opponent could. Even more impressive is the context. This was Gauff's first match of 2026, first match of the new year, and she comes out looking like she's already been playing competitive tennis for 3 months. Most players need time to shake off the rust, find their rhythm, get their timing back, not Gauff. She showed up ready to destroy from minute 1. Speaking on court after the match, Gauff said something that should terrify everyone else on tour. "I feel like I can play even better too, which is even more exciting." Read that again. She just crushed her opponent 6-1, 6-1 in under an hour, and her reaction is that she can play even better. That's not confidence, that's dominance with room to grow. That's a player who knows she's not acknowledged the difficulty of starting the season, saying it's always tough playing your first match, especially against an opponent who had already played the day before. But here's the thing. It didn't look tough. It looked easy. It looked effortless. Sierra had the supposed advantage of having a match under her belt already, and it made absolutely no difference. Gauff was simply operating on a different level. This win leveled the Group A tie at 1-1 between defending champion USA and Argentina. Earlier in the day, Sebastian Baez had upset Taylor Fritz, which should have given Argentina momentum. Instead, Gauff came out and completely erased that momentum in less than an hour. She didn't just win. She made a statement that the Americans aren't giving up their United Cup title without a fight. The tie ended up going to mixed doubles, with Gauff partnering Taylor Fritz against Maria Lourdes-Carlet and Guido Andreozzi. But the damage was already done. Gauff had set the tone. She had shown everyone watching that she's not messing around in 2026. This isn't going to be a rebuilding year or a transition year. This is going to be a year where Gauff goes for everything. Let's talk about Solana Sierra for a moment, because we should have some sympathy here. This was her first ever match against a top 10 player. That's already intimidating enough. But to have that match be against Coco Gauff, who's playing at an elite level and clearly in the zone, that's brutal. Sierra is ranked outside the top 100, and the gap between her and Gauff was painfully obvious from the first game. Sierra had no answers for Gauff's power and precision. She couldn't handle the returns. She couldn't hold her own serve. She couldn't create any offensive opportunities. It was like watching someone try to have a conversation in a language they barely speak while the other person is a native speaker talking at full speed. The levels were just too different. But here's where it gets interesting. Gauff's performance wasn't just about beating Sierra. It was about sending a message to everyone else in the draw. It was about telling the other top players, Iga Świątek, Aryna Sabalenka, Elena Rybakina, that she's coming for them. It was about establishing dominance early in the season so that by the time the Australian Open rolls around, everyone knows she's a serious threat. Gauff's on-court comments after the match revealed her mindset. She talked about managing emotions during the first match of the season. She talked about being happy with her performance but knowing she can improve. That's the mentality of someone who's not satisfied with just winning. She wants to win perfectly. She wants to play at such a high level that her opponents feel like they never had a chance. Before the match, Gauff had made some interesting comments about American fans traveling overseas to support their players. She was brutally honest, saying Americans are probably the worst when it comes to showing up for team competitions abroad. She called for more patriotism, wanting to see more red, white, and blue in the stands. That honesty is refreshing in a sport where players usually give diplomatic, boring answers to everything. And you know what? After a performance like this, maybe more American fans will start showing up. Because Gauff is giving them something to be excited about. She's not just winning, she's winning in style. She's making it look easy. She's making it entertaining. If you're a casual tennis fan and you watch Gauff dismantle someone in 57 minutes, you're going to want to see what she does next. The broader context here is that Gauff is entering a crucial phase of her career. She's 21 years old, she's world number 3, and she's already won multiple Grand Slams. The question now isn't whether she can win big tournaments. She's proven she can. The question is whether she can consistently dominate the tour and establish herself as the clear #1 player in the world. Performances like this suggest the answer is yes. When you can show up on day 1 of the season and play at this level, it means your preparation was excellent. It means you're motivated. It means you're hungry. All of those things point toward Gauff having a monster year in 2026. Let's also talk about what this means for the United Cup as a competition. The tournament is still relatively new, having replaced the ATP Cup and merged it with a mixed team event. The defending champions are Team USA, and Gauff is clearly taking that responsibility seriously. She's not treating this as a warm-up event or a casual exhibition. She's treating it like it matters, which elevates the entire competition. Taylor Fritz lost earlier in the day, which put pressure on Gauff to deliver. And deliver she did. That's leadership. That's what you want from your #1 player. When the team needs a win, you go out and get it convincingly. You don't let it go to a third set. You don't make it competitive. You handle your business and you do it quickly. The fact that this match lasted only 57 minutes is actually significant. In team competitions, energy management matters. By finishing quickly, Gauff saved herself for potentially playing mixed doubles later the same day. She also sent Sierra home with plenty of time to think about what just happened, which is never great for an opponent's confidence. Gauff's serving was particularly impressive in this match. She held serve easily throughout, which meant Sierra was constantly playing from behind. Once Gauff broke serve in the first game of each set, it was essentially over. Sierra needed to break back immediately to have any chance, and she couldn't do it. That's suffocating tennis, the kind that makes opponents feel helpless. The return game from Gauff was equally devastating. Sierra won only 7 points on serve in the entire first set. That's absurd. For context, even in lopsided matches, the server usually wins at least 40 to 50% of points. Gauff reduced Sierra to winning less than 20% of her service points in that opening set. That's not just good returning, that's elite, historic-level dominance. What's scary for the rest of the tour is that Gauff genuinely believes she can play better. She's not being falsely modest or setting low expectations. She actually sees areas where she can improve from this performance. When a player wins 6-1, 6-1 and thinks they can do better, that player is in a dangerous mindset. Dangerous for everyone else, that is. Gauff's confidence right now seems sky high, and rightfully so. She's coming off a season where she established herself firmly in the top 3. She's proven she can win on different surfaces. She's shown mental toughness in big moments. Now she's starting 2026 by absolutely crushing her first opponent. Everything is clicking at the right time. The Australian Open is coming up in just a couple of weeks, and this performance has to make Gauff one of the favorites. She's playing in Australia for this United Cup competition, so she's already adjusted to the time zone and conditions. She's got match fitness now, she's feeling good about her game. All of that points toward a deep run in Melbourne. One thing that stands out about Gauff's game is the completeness of it. She's not just relying on one weapon. Her serve is strong. Her return is elite. Her ground strokes are powerful and consistent. Her movement is excellent. She's become a complete player, and that's why she's so difficult to beat. You can't just exploit one weakness because there aren't many weaknesses left to exploit. Sierra probably learned a valuable lesson from this match, even if it was a painful one. Playing against the best players in the world shows you exactly where your game needs to improve. Sierra now knows the level she needs to reach if she wants to compete with the top players. That gap might seem insurmountable right now, but at least she knows what the standard is. For Gauff, this was the perfect start to the season. You couldn't script a better opening match. Dominant performance, quick finish, no injuries, confidence boosted, message sent to the tour. Now she needs to build on it and maintain this level throughout the year. If she can do that, we might be looking at a player who dominates 2026, the way Serena Williams used to dominate seasons in her prime. The United Cup continues, and USA will need more performances like this if they want to defend their title. But based on what we saw from Coco Gauff in Perth, they've got at least one player who's ready to carry the team on her back if necessary. 57 minutes, 6-1, 6-1, and a promise that she can play even better. The rest of the tennis world has been warned. Coco Gauff just destroyed her opponent in less than an hour and then casually mentioned she can play better. That's the energy we need in 2026. If this performance is any indication, we're about to witness something special this year. Don't miss a single moment of Gauff's dominance. Smash that like button and subscribe so you catch every update as this season unfolds.